Thank you, Pooja, for that warm introduction. We've been speaking a lot about technology, we've been speaking a lot about education, and one thing is very clear throughout all our conversations, the fact that technology is not just anymore a support system when it comes to education. Technology is now deciding how we create, how we curate, and how we distribute educational models. And it's a pleasure having Harini Ravi, who's the Director of Institutional Development, SRM Group of Institutions. Your designation says a lot. You are the Director of Institutional Development. So as a person whose job is to see how the institution grows forward, are you keeping an eye on AI tools such as ChatGPT? Because it is revolutionizing how we not just create content, but also consume content. And eventually all of that is seeping into our educational system.
Absolutely. I personally believe that in this day and age, AI and generative AI like ChatGPT can add a lot of value to students' education, and institutions must firstly not look at it as an impediment to students' education, but rather encourage its utilization in a very structured and creative way, but within rules of academic integrity. Like, for example, University College London, they have, from the beginning, supported the use of AI in undergraduate and postgraduate education, and they have outlined certain rules on academic integrity with generative AI, and they've allowed the use to be limited to that of an assistive tool. So that means students can use AI for, say, structuring their essays, for checking codes, for checking spelling errors, grammatical mistakes, translation, and even simplifying daunting academic material for their easy understanding. So when institutions directly get involved with how students engage with AI, there is less chance for students to misuse it or abuse it. So if students can be taught how to use AI and ChatGPT to look at learning material from different perspectives, understand the scope of what they're learning, and be creative in how they engage with the material, I think that is, I would say that's a lot of positive, in that. And students need to be cautioned against, the shortcomings of AI, because ChatGPT does, do this thing called hallucination, which is that ChatGPT produces plausible sounding answers, which can only come from the data sets that it's exposed to. And if there is information within that data set that is incorrect, it doesn't modify, it doesn't correct it or state it as being incorrect. It just reproduces the same mistake in a very different form and in a very confident and matter-of-factly manner. So I think students could really get misled if they are not taught how to use it in a very mindful way. So yes, and absolutely, there are other AI tools like, say, Research Rabbit, Elicit, Notebook LM, Consensus for young research students. And these tools can help them identify research gaps, engage with new research in a very informed way, where they can use these tools to understand where certain research intersect, diverge, and relate to each other, and form their own conclusions from that. So and then there's a lot of literature review that they can, generate from that. So I think there's a lot of potential for these AI and ChatGPT.
So clearly there's a lot of potential. It could be a boon, it could be a bane as well. Now, at the risk of offending all our educationists here, including you, there's one complaint from the educational institutes is that in India, educational institutes take a lot of time to adapt to industry change, to the industrial requirements. Do you think these AI tools coming in right now, enabling not just students but also teachers and your entire educational system, do you think it will fasten the fact that institutions such as yours are creating students, are, like they say, manufacturing students and engineers who are industry ready?
Sure, but I have to warn against this Silicon Valley solutionism thinking, which is that any technology can be seen as an easy, clear-cut solution to very complex political, social, and systemic challenges. And these challenges that students face can only be, I would say, fixed with very mindfully constructed social, political, and systemic solutions. And technology can only go so far as to, act as a salve. But it cannot identify the root cause, which is that institutions are very stratified in India. Many institutions have, all institutions have different kinds of powers and freedoms and constraints. Like we have public, private, we have, deemed universities, and then we have autonomous institutions and affiliated institutions, and we have all these kinds, and institutions of national importance, and we have all these different kinds of institutions that answer to different kinds of entities, and they have their own internal processes, and everything takes time to, to identify, industry, changes and translate it into curriculum, modifications. And I think what institutions need to do is, within their capabilities, like within their powers, they must identify with a lot of care certain new industry, I would say streams or trends or whatever it is, because of course industry, every day there is something new being marketed or implemented, and then the public reacts to it, and then like there's a whole industry around it that is very profitable. There's a lot of job opportunities there, and students will have to have the necessary skills to be able to engage with that particular technology or whatever. And I think institutions need to understand what specific routes are sustainable for the long term, or even like, for the next decade or so. Why? Because we don't need to have courses for every single thing that, that first of all takes a lot of students' time, and institutions have a certain responsibility to students that, okay, if you're offering you this particular degree, it has practical value, and you will derive like real, value from it, and there will be, placement opportunities that you can, that you will be exposed to. Like all of these requires an institutions, I would say, careful, implementation of what they truly believe to be, vital in that time, for students, and be mindful of how they develop the curriculum to be as updated as possible. So yeah.
And one of the biggest challenges in India when it comes to education, and data also shows this, is the fact that the more further away we move from urban centers, the quality of education, the quality of faculties also keeps decreasing. And that's a reality even today. Do you think digital learning, particularly led by AI, is going to democratize how we distribute information, distribute learning? how are universities like SRM, for example, bringing about an integrated learning architecture to ensure that people who cannot travel to these urban centers where most of these universities are located, how do they get access to quality education?
Yeah, I mean, we can see like there are real life examples of students and faculties in say tier 2 or tier 3 cities deriving a lot of value from say the NPTEL courses, like the National Program for Technology Enhanced Learning. And these courses offer various STEM specializations that faculty and students are, first of all, are able to complete successfully, that it is user-friendly, and there is a lot of support that institutions can give for the completion of these programs. And these programs are very practical and valuable for students and faculty. And this serves as testament that, yes, there's a lot of scope for technology to bridge that gap, in tier 2, tier 3 cities for, say, faculty and student, self-skilling. Because not every program can be an offline mode form of education, because all of that would require like significant commitment, and there should be a steady stream of students filling these seats, and it becomes an economical thing then. But online is very different, because the cost of running an online program is significantly low compared to that of an offline. And these days, the value for an offline and an online course is starting to, somewhat converge. And employers are starting to value like these online programs, degrees and certifications. So yes, there's a lot of scope for that.
Clearly, I mean, we all agree that digital learning is much more economical, but there are experiences that classroom offers, socializing among your students, socializing with teachers. I think these experiences cannot be replaced by any technology, including AI. But again, thank you so much for sharing your thoughts. Let's hear a round of applause there for Harini Ravi, Director of Institutional Development at SRM Group of Institutions. Thank you.